Alright guys, it's Monday, one day before Turkey Tuesday. I figured this would be a great opportunity to kind of go over some decoy setups, different scenarios. That's kind of one thing we like to do here at No Limits Outdoors, is give you something you can use just from our experiences. By no means do I claim to be a professional, but I've had some luck. I've hunted turkeys in 17 different states, and here on the East Coast hunting these eastern birds, they can be very stubborn. We have a lot of population. I hunt a lot of public land, a lot of pressure. So let me go over a couple different scenarios with you. First, we have the green headgear turkey decoys here. They have a full line of decoys. What made me pick these decoys was the fact they're extremely packable, quiet, and the stakes. I tell you, here on the East Coast, the ground gets super hard. We have a lot of sand, a lot of clay, and those are durable stakes. They're not going to break. I can't tell you how many stakes I've went through trying to get them to stick in the ground. Plus, if you're familiar with the green headgear goose or duck decoys, I mean, you can tell there's super motion. We have no wind here today, and you know, they move around. The more realistic, the better luck you're going to have. I'll tell you, the decoys anymore, they've evolved just like anything else. They make 5 decoys. I don't have the laying hen here. I really like her, especially for certain times of year when I want to take that jake and kind of push her up, you know, on the jake on the hen. Really fires them gobblers up. They don't want to see a jake breeding their hens. Also, I really like the fact they've camoed the bag. I can't tell you how many times I've been caught with my pants down and just kind of tossed the bag. Hopefully this will help me blend in and bail me out of some trouble here. So let me go over some setups here. I want to cover this decoy here first. It's the Jekyll and Hyde decoy. As you can tell, you got a big red head, very dominant, aggressive side, and then you have the passive side. If you scout turkeys, if you know turkeys at all, when they're sitting there by themselves, they're comfortable. A lot of times them heads are just white as snow, just like this one. Then when they get agitated or they're competing for those birds or nice high pressure days when anything makes them gobble, this is the guy you want. This has a synthetic fan in there. You can pop a real fan in there, but for this purpose I have the synthetic in. Also, this decoy you can pop up like this, and you can do the stalk like a lot of guys like to do nowadays. I can't wait to try that this season. I've never done it personally. I can't wait to try that. So first thing we're going to go into is, if I'm hunting a property I've never been to, what decoy do I take and why? I'm going to take a feeding hen. A feeding hen, to me, lets everybody know we're comfortable. When that hen comes in, if you call a hen in first, she's going to be mouthy, you're going to talk back. She might be the most dominant hen. She's going to come in, she'll come into this decoy, and I guarantee you after a couple minutes, she'll just start plucking around. Even if she's not eating, everybody's comfortable. In that case, now you have a live decoy. The next scenario is, you know what birds are there, you've scouted the property the day before, you have 2 or 3 gobblers. I really think any configuration will work from that point, especially if they're aggressive, running, pushing other birds off. I wouldn't hesitate using a gobbler or a full strut decoy. Here in Maryland, we come in like 14th this year for Youth Day, and I think 16th or 17th for our season. I really like to use the full strut gobblers for about the first 2 weeks. Then after that, when they start breeding, they really don't want to compete as much. Not saying it won't work. You got to know your birds in that situation, especially if you don't want to run a subdominant bird off by a full strut bird. So if you know that you have some gobblers that are aggressive, go with the full strut. So now let's talk about the subdominant bird, the satellite bird. He sometimes can be an older bird that just got beat up by a group of jakes or a group of 2-year-olds or a group of 3-year-olds. A lot of times those age class birds will stay together and they will run everything off if they're aggressive, and they'll come into anything. But that subdominant bird, I really like to go with the feeding hen or the upright hen. You can almost, the biggest thing is, if you hunt that bird one day and he stays out at that 50-60 yards range with a jake, the next time you hunt that bird, he's going to be smarter. So come in with a feeding hen or an upright hen, something he can see. I really like the upright, especially when you get some winter wheat or you get some stuff that gets a little higher. She sits up higher so they can see her. You know, that's one of the setups I like. So that's the couple different scenarios. The biggest thing is, I can tell you, if you can scout your birds. Another scenario. If you're in the woods, you set up, you've never been there, but you hear the birds firing off, and you hear 1 deep gobble, 2 deep gobbles, and they're gobbling over top of each other. You know it's a group of birds. I would go right to the jake. I would put a jake and a hen out there, because odds are when they come in, they're going to come in together, especially earlier, or if there's the same age class bird. Another thing, as you know, this decoy has 2 head sides, right? So a lot of times, from my experiences, when them gobblers come in, they come to the head because they want to peck that bird in the head. They want to let him know that I'm taking your girl from you. The good thing is, especially if it's 2 of them, Now they got two. One will kind of stay off to the side. You might be able to separate that bird for a shot, because like here in Maryland, you can only kill one bird per day. Doesn't matter how many comes in. So last thing you want to do is take a shot and their heads are grouped up and you accidentally knock down two birds, and now you've broke the law. So I really think this will be a good opportunity to break those gobblers up, and they each pick somebody to beat up. Biggest thing is, if you have any comments or questions, I don't claim to be a pro, but I can help you out. I've killed birds in 17 different states. You know, your Merriams, some of those birds are a lot different than your Easterns. I found from experience, the birds here on the East Coast, I really think it has to do with pressure, predators. They can be really a pain in the butt, especially the longer the season goes on in public land. We hunt a ton of public land here, so I feel your pain. I feel your pain. So if you have any comments or questions, just leave them in the comments, or feel free to PM me. I can give you some advice. But I would definitely try out these green headgear decoys. They've made a huge difference. You know, they're super light. You can carry them nice and easy. The stakes, the finish on them, they look super realistic. I really think you'll be happy with them. The motion stakes. So give them a try next time you're in the woods, and hopefully you bag a couple this spring.